discussing coaches and everything they do for the team, I wanted to grab our team director, you have a lot of titles, just manager, okay, and the coach of Forward Gaming, and talk to them a little bit about what they do for the team and what we can expect as they prepare heading into the TI qualifiers. So to break that down a little, we're going to start with Owie. First off, just want to ask, overall, what would you say your main purpose is as a coach?
I think my main purpose is to take the players' different ideas and try to spread it around, or try to sort of meld it into a theme that they can all agree with, and then make sure everyone's on the same page with that.
And does that put you, do you feel like you're more of the emotional manager if he is the strategic one?
I would say so. I mean, I don't talk too much about Dota, but try to keep people in a good mental state, I guess, and make sure everyone does what they're supposed to, more or less, and also back him up, because at times it's hard. It's Dota players. It's like herding cats sometimes, and so his job isn't easy, and we need to back each other up sometimes.
So as far as taking players' ideas and sort of condensing them, who would you say on the team has the most ideas and maybe needs to be the most controlled or brought down a little?
And it's like a...
who has the craziest ideas?
Craziest ideas. No, I don't think anyone really has that crazy ideas.
Okay.
I think I have some really weird ideas that don't work out very well.
Okay, so you have the weird ones. So who yells at you when you give them really weird scrim ideas?
Well, I'm like the authority figure, and everyone looks up to me, so no one's allowed to tell me no. So we just do the same idea 5 times. It doesn't work. I told them, you guys aren't good enough to execute my idea. And then we do it again and we lose. So that's how it works.
So that's why Jack's in control of team morale. Understood. You guys have a ton of fans here, all waiting for the signing and everything. What is that like? Because we are in Russia, you guys are an NA team, and what is it like kind of interacting with a different fan base?
We keep losing too fast, so we don't get to see the fans as much as we want to. But everything I've always heard about the Russian fans are they're super interactive. They're really cool. They're obviously passionate. I don't know why they want our signatures and stuff, but it's sort of nice. It's always nice to meet the fans,
Okay, so definitely feel good moment there. Heading into TI, you guys do have to go into the qualifiers, and there's been a lot of talk with the DPC about burnout and scheduling and everything. So how are you guys mentally approaching that? Because you pretty much are going to fly home and have to play almost immediately. So how are you mentally preparing?
I don't know if we said anything specifically for that, mentally prepare to qualifiers. This DPC season, you really don't get that many breaks. So it's a lot of just grinding out, and everyone knows mental is pretty much just this is what matters, this is TI. So just give it everything you have, and hope you get lucky, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully you play your potential and you play well. But honestly, hope you have a good day, All
right, and so we've been ignoring Jack here a little bit. I know I've been focusing on Owie for this, but he said he has a lot of crazy ideas. And as they prepare for TI, you're known for your own crazy pub ideas. Are you going to throw any into the pot there to help them prep?
Let's just say, the pot analogy, if you want to cook a good dish, you probably don't want too many of my crazy ingredients in there. So, it just keeps the game fun, and, you can think about things in different ways. At the end of the day, I think one of the things I've learned most from working with the team is that it's really often more of an art than a science. So a lot of conclusions are very opinion-driven. They're very experience-driven. They're not necessarily, totally fleshed out where you have, a scientific method for getting to the bottom of things. And so that's a lot of how the ideas factor in. It just can be whatever you feel works, and you just roll with it.
All right, so heading into TI, they're going to do some idea cooking, maybe throw in one weird flavor at a time. Good luck to you guys, and enjoy the rest of the signing.
started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling, 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 falling,
Made with imported real strawberries. 7 days croissant, now with delicious strawberry filling.
Become a software developer and start your career.
Softuni is an award-winning.
Ada boh, ada rasa yang lazat, warna yang pekat.
Most of the time, a good observer will go unnoticed. When you have great observing, when you catch that moment that is 1 in a million, that's when the viewers will notice it.
We all kind of knew TNC as the up and down team. Sometimes they looked so good, sometimes just not good at all. And then September, they added Gabby. January, they added AU. And they started just taking off. It's starting to be a stable team. They are, at the moment, seemingly taking it all the way to the top. And here they are with their first top 4 finish at a DPC major. And they're playing against the crowd favorite Virtus.pro, who is also top 4. And they are not unfamiliar, but with the crowd here, cheering them on. It gives it a little bit of extra fighting power for Virtus.pro. We're going to have TNC versus Virtus.pro here for the EPICENTER Major. It's going to be the deciding slot for who's going to be left behind at 4th and who's going to move on to top 3 tomorrow. Here to talk to you all about it is Nahaz, Lacoste, Gods. Gentlemen, welcome back. And I want to just start straight up because there's been a lot of back and forth. And I kind of feel like people need to know who you guys favored, because I think maybe some people at home think it's going to be Virtus.pro, but I believe we've got some TNC fans on the panel.
TNC, who are they, Shiver? Me, fan? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
SCA Dota? No, Gods doesn't like that at all.
Why are you such a big fan of SCA Dota, Gods?
Why?
Yeah.
They're underrated. They, historically they had to overcome more to get to events. They have to, play in this region with these awful pub games. They don't often get qualifier slots for tournaments.
Don't we all have awful pub games?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Dude, God, you're going way less ham on this than I thought. You're a fan of SCA Dota because it rocks. Because these guys are they're massively entertaining games. You get to see these players like DZ that plays Invoker and just runs around the map killing 20 people before 15 minutes. It's just the style of Dota in this region has always been completely unique.
They let their Dota do the talking, not their egos. That's SCA Dota.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, that says more than the 1,000 words, right? It's not a picture, but you know what is a picture, by the way? Well, there's a picture in your phone if you take it. I kind of envisioned that transition to be a little bit more smooth, but you get where I'm going. It's a contest. You take a picture of how you're watching Epicenter 2019. You use hashtag EpicenterGG, hashtag Dota2, and you have a chance to win some Arcanas. That's right. Make sure you get those tweets in, because we give away Arcanas every single day. You need to keep those tweets going, because otherwise we don't have any people to give Arcanas to, and that would be a shame.
Yeah, we're just getting rid of old Arcanas. New Arcanas are coming.
That game is like crack. I had never played auto chess. You guys showed me how to play the other day. Oh my God.
As an economist,
it's over.
I could see you loving that game.
And I like that you can play it on the go as well, just in a shuttle,
Yeah, we're heading back to the hotel after a day of work. Everyone gets to their phone. There's Wi-Fi on the bus. Underlords? Okay.
But you can also play versus bots, and if you then close your phone and close the app afterwards, you can. Yeah. Do you want to continue with your bot game? Okay, I'll do that.
Right.
All right. We're here to talk about a different game from Valve, and no, it is not Artifact. It is Dota 2. It is TNC versus Virtus.pro. Exciting series to come, and I was actually serious. I am curious to hear who you guys favor in this matchup, because I think for a lot of people, after what we've seen today and the rest of the tournament, it's not really clear who comes out as a favorite for this matchup.
TNC have played better Dota. TNC right now look like the better team, but it's still VP, and I think that's where you can't just look at the past of this tournament and be like TNC a favorite. You have to consider, hey, it's VP. These guys are one of the top 2 or top 3 teams in the world.
Virtus.pro is not in their TI form, so I'm going to give maybe...
Is that a good thing? Or?
That's a good thing, yeah. So I'm going to give them 5 to 10 more % over TNC, even though I've been underestimating TNC for quite some time, and they really grew on me. The boys can really play some amazing Dota. And after the new coach, everything is just gelling together. Yeah, it feels like a completely different team. The boys were playing good. The individual skill was there. We're not trying to take anything away from them. But with Tahin, it was just the piece that was missing, I guess.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would actually favor TNC going into this series. I'm with you, like 55-45, somewhere like that, just because it would be one thing if this were a team, and it's a storyline that we've talked about a lot. Coaching coming in, this team looking like all of a sudden they come together strategically. They're very, very sound, where that had been a weakness before. But these are players that have a history. We have seen Armel at TI matching up against no one and other players of that caliber in line, blow for blow. We know that these guys can play Dota at the tier 1 level, and we're just that sort of one piece gelling as a team away from being a tier 1 squad. And the TNC, I'm sorry, watching their replays, the TNC that I have seen at Birmingham and at this tournament so far is a tier 1 squad. But again, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. We haven't necessarily shown, they haven't shown that they can get over the hump. Their losses at Birmingham, 2-1 against DG, 2-1 against Secret, they looked like they were competing, but you have to ultimately be able to get over that hump.
You do. I mean, do you want to add something to that?
I mean, I'm just excited to see TNC play. Don't really have much to say. Am I meant to be talking on an analyst panel? I just want to be a fan for once. But no, I mean, I love watching TNC play because it is very unique. It's kind of the SEA style of playing Dota. I think they're very distinct as far as that region goes.
And I do agree that since he joined, they've basically been stepping it up a notch. But at the same time, they were kind of already on the rise before that. And I'm curious, what makes a team all of a sudden go from, they're good with individual skill and they can look quite okay. What makes it go from there to stability monstrous beast? Is that the patch that they're playing in? Is that just really good for them right now?
So there is a little bit of that. I think the tournament meta that we've talked about so many times already about these constant skirmishes, the drawn-out fights, the uptime and always being ready to go, that does favor a team like TNC that likes to be constantly putting on map pressure, that likes to fight, that likes to be active over teams that like to sit back a little bit more and play defensively. But again, I think, like you said, the trend was already there for TNC and they just needed that catalyst.
The other part is also that kind of slight shake-up, even in the roster itself. Like they played the start of the season with Ninja Boogie. They've, been on and off with Cuckoo for various different reasons at different tournaments. And then they've also brought AU back onto the roster more recently. And I think those are things which, you go through this phase with a new roster that's really gelling, where you suddenly look way better as well. And I think that's kind of where TNC's at. That's where Liquid's at. Bringing in Weeha, it's kind of just rejuvenated the team. Bring in a new coach, just adds a new voice, someone who's motivated to do well again. He won a TI with Liquid several years ago, and he's looking to prove that it wasn't just because he was on Team Liquid. So the whole team looks very motivated right now.
I think in the previous series against the LGD, you can show how much they grew, especially with these drawn-out fights where they go in and out a couple of times. The fights last for 2, maybe 2+ minutes. They don't want to commit fully to anything, and they're more serious and they are not taking too many risks.
They're not at all. And I want to put our attention a little bit on Virtus.pro as well, because they are also a team that has 5 incredibly talented individuals, and they felt like they needed a boost, a new insight. They got Arseek as their coach, started the season. And they've been doing real great as well.
Yeah, we on the panel also thought the same. We need a new boost, so we got Arseek on the panel as well.
Yeah.
Like, this was not working out. Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
It's already kicked, but
I think one of the reasons why they like to play Silencer is because in one of his older teams, he also loved to play it, even though when he was not that popular, pretty much it was him and Poppy just playing the hero. But it brings so much to the table.
So what are we thinking about Virtus.pro and their form? I know that you say, they're not a TI form, and we know their approach to trying to keep things fun and just to still play Dota, still keep their skills up to date, but not really go for a whole burnout scenario that they had last year. How do we feel like they're managing this so far, their balance? It's all about balance.
They seem in a pretty good place. Like, as far as where they're at this tournament, they've played overall pretty good Dota. They've had a few shaky games and moments here or there. I think Game 2 versus Alliance is one they'll look at where they didn't maybe play the best early game, but overall, you're in the top 6 of the last major of the season. TI already secured. They're probably just looking to balance their expectations a bit.
Also, like they've kind of brought in a little bit of a strategic variation in their drafting in the last 5 or 6 series, in that they're first phasing these 5 position supports that put a lot of pressure on the enemy core. So when you talk about first phasing, the Shadow Demon, the Winter Wyvern, those are 2 supports that put a lot of anti-BKB pressure on these big Svens and Trolls that we've seen so much of in this tournament. And then we saw the Silencer anticipating that Alliance was going to rely on that Koikva Storm, which had been their most picked hero. I really like that in a meta where we've seen first phases dominated by these offlaners and these 4s like Grimstroke, sometimes a 5, of course. I like this idea of VP that we're not going to use our bans on those big cores. We're gonna pick a hero that already puts pressure if you choose to go in that direction.
One thing I like about the VP is that they will run at you no matter what. And this is the team that I think is having the most fun when they're playing together. There's no doubt about it. You can check it with just the sound wheel. And I mean, overall, this team only needs one mistake that enemy team will make, and they will be back into the game, no matter how far they are behind.
That's very true. I have a quick question. We're waiting for the teams to get ready to walk on stage. And I am not allowed to ask the question. We're going to see the answer. I'm going to tell you what I was talking about after the player walk-in. So let's get TNC and VP on the stage.
Встречалась за кулисами с альянсами, они поздравили команду Virtus.pro, потому что тоже довольны тем, что уже прошли на International. Они мне сказали, что все прекрасно понимают, и команды, и зрители, и поклонники, и вообще всей доты, что для Virtus.pro конкретно очень важна победа на домашнем мажоре. Ну и что, мы уже, наверное, готовы позвать тех самых ребят, которые сейчас обе команды очень хотят победить.
Это и сделаем. Единственное, вспомню такой факт, что перед игрой мне удалось увидеться с Пашей ненадолго. И он говорит о том, что TNC немного попортили им крови на Весге, поэтому эта игра может стать своеобразным реваншем. Пора встречать команды на этой сцене, и первыми мы приглашаем наших гостей, Филиппины, команда TNC Predator. Встречаем!
TNC Predator. TNC Predator.
Состав, представляющий Филиппины. Сильная команда, без всяких сомнений. Ведь именно они обыграли действующих чемпионов Эпицентра. И именно это та команда, которая, если почувствовала свою игру, навряд ли уступит. Спасибо им за то, что они здесь, но
есть еще одна команда, которая тоже отлично чувствует эту игру, и она доказывает то, что это действительно правда на этом турнире. Друзья, вы готовы позвать их сюда? Да, встречайте Virtus.pro!
Virtus.pro. Solo. Pasha. No one. Roger. Ramses. Virtus.pro.
Virtus.pro versus TNC. Winner moves forward to face Liquid. Loser will stay behind in 4th place. And to be honest, I'm just hoping that the series will be an exciting one, because I know both of these teams can bring some exciting Dota to the plate, and I hope that's going to be the case. By the way, the thing that I was talking about is that yesterday when we were talking with Arseek, we saw, it was Gambit versus Alliance, and we saw both Loda and Bulk walk on stage with the players during the walk-ons, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna walk on with the players, and he didn't, and neither did he. So that was my question, and that also was the answer.
All right, next topic.
Next topic, but I do feel like a coach should. You know, I feel like right now a coach is such a big part of a team. They should be there with the walk-ins.
I think it's, again, my point about coaches has always been that the role of the coach is going to vary a lot, and that the main job of the coach is to be the resource that the team needs at that particular moment. And some guys are gonna need to take part of that spotlight, and some guys are gonna be more in the background, and that's totally okay.
That's a very reasonable answer, actually. All right, let's talk Dota. I want to know what you guys think of the heroes that are going to be picked, the heroes that are going to be banned, the most contested heroes of TNC versus Virtus.pro. And I'm sure, Nahaz, you got some stats for us as well that you wanna put out there. You want to take the lead in this one?
Sure, a lot of variety. TNC has opened with 8 different heroes in their last 4 drafts. You're going to see teamfight opens. We've seen an AA Veno open from them. I think the only team in that tournament that has played that. Obviously, we got to talk about the Sven as a hero that we expect to be heavily contested again in this series. One thing I didn't mention for Sven when we were talking about the last series, that hero coming into today's games in this patch, 37 and 19 in games that end before 40 minutes, only 17 and 18 in games that go past the 40-minute mark. So it is a hero that puts you on a bit of a timer.
Yeah, it is known that Sven is not the greatest super late game hero, especially if you have good heroes to kite him with. That's why we see those Winter Wyverns, those Shadow Demons even being first pick. Anything that goes through the BKB is good. A couple of other heroes that stand out that are played over 10 games, Enigma, 80% win rate. Same goes for Io and Gyro, of course, because they're paired up together. And I think one of the best heroes right now, Omni Knight, with the 70% win rate. This hero does so much, and I was trying to think of a counter to an Omni Knight, even though if you can close the gap to him, he does so much. You can still survive through initial burst, especially if you pair him up with another hero who has any kind of saving capability. So it's really hard to take a fight against an Omni Knight in general. He also has a GPM talent on level 10, so he's gonna get the items.
90 GPM, like that's like pretty insane, especially when you're a core, you get level 10 so fast. Like there's a reason why most heroes with GPM talents are 5 positions, because GPM talents are the most broken level 10 talents in the game. They're just straight up good. But how you were signaling like no Omni Knight, is that the please ban Omni Knight?
I was going to tell you, I have a great counter to the Omni Knight. It is called the ban button. I do not want to see that hero in the series.
The alternative is playstyle. You have to play more. You don't fight into it. You play split push. The hero has no catch, doesn't push waves out. That's where, like, you look at what some of these teams do with Ember Spirit, where he's always pushing out waves, cutting waves. Like, that kind of thing works very well against Omni. But it's on a hero counter. It's a playstyle counter.
Yep. But if you have Omni, you also have a superior team fight. So this is why I like DP being paired up with an Omni, because you're facing enemy team to fight into you, because you're gonna stand, especially against the tier 3 towers. Like, you need to take that fight if the lanes are in good position for you, and also you need to pick position 4 and 5 that have any kind of catch, because Omni Knight doesn't provide any.
I mean, we're talking about Omni, we talk about DP. The hero that TNC being first stage picking has been AA, so that's like just straight up a counter in some sense, having that Ice Blast. So it's a possibility TNC leave it in. TNC themselves are actually a team who play Omni, so this is 2 teams who are both willing to pull out the Omni Knight. It's not. I don't think it's a straight up first pick hero regardless. You're more likely to see, the 5 position first pick from VP into a second pick Omni.
What happened to Razor? That's what I'm wondering, because every single time there was an Omni, Razor was being counterpick.
Yes,
at least in the aim.
Yeah,
I mean,
when Omni was like
that was more. Yeah, that was more about the laning phase matchup. I just don't think that hero. It just doesn't do enough in this meta. Especially, it just doesn't. It doesn't scale at all.
The biggest problem is dispel. Like, you need to dispel the GA with something.
Right.
We've seen Alliance try to do it with Brewmaster in the previous game. Sven is good to one extent with level 15 talent, so you can actually focus people down.
You don't have to if you have magic
Demon.
damage, though. But the problem is most drafts these days, it feels like a very heavy physical damage.
Yeah, but if you have a lot of, if you have, let's say, 3 disables, and he puts his second ability on, that's like 1 disable.
Yeah, you see these
You're
winner's
wasting
curses
time.
that last like 2 seconds, right, after the Heavenly Grace. I don't know. Part of it, guys, is as you talk about the playstyle counters, part of it is that we just haven't seen the heavy split pushing playstyles have that much success at this tournament. It's been much more about skirmishing. It's been much more about putting pressure by getting kills in the mid game and converting those into objectives.
It also depends how you're playing early game. Let's say you have 2 tier 2 towers and you're grouping up to push mid lane. And they have no tier 2 towers, so you can go for tier 3s, and your tier 2 towers will still be able to deal some damage and just slow them down.
As long as we're talking about heroes and skirmishes, there's two heroes that I was expecting other people to pick up on. Pango is one of them. VP has played it once successfully and someone else lost with it, I think, was Alliance, but you've only seen it twice. It's not that bad of a hero, and like, even with the nerf, right? Should be still decent.
I don't necessarily think that's a nerf. Silence is a big thing because, I mean, he was OP when he had both silence and disarm. That shit was just straight out broken. But right now, the minus armor as well is also really good. And to be honest, I can't give you the answer why Pango is that big because I enjoy playing the hero and I think the hero is extremely good what he does, especially from position 4.
And then the other hero that comes to mind that we have seen, I think, only win, maybe one loss, Axe. We saw Liquid being so
Liquid,
good on
right?
it.
Yeah. That's. I mean, the way Liquid plays the BKB piercing disable, AOE BKB piercing disable on the relatively short cooldown is so good. But that's the thing. Liquid's really the only team that's had any success with it.
Kids these days are competing who has a bigger Seb.
Yes. Was different back in the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some other competitions
Somebody
going
just said
on there?
kids these days on a panel, and it wasn't me.
Dude, Lacoste is old. He's been around. I didn't even realize how old you were.
I look young.
You do.
It's the memes. They keep you young, dude.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Now, the other thing, apart from heroes, that I think we ought to talk about is just Tim's has had a hell of a tournament and is a hell of a player. I brought this up the other night before TNC series. You look at 167 players with 150 more LAN appearances all time. There are only 4 guys that are above 14 assists a game. Talk about Fade and GH being #1 and #2. Yapsor on that list as well, and Tim's is on that list. This kid is legit. He is a tremendous asset at the 4 position, and it's a great matchup again for him in Roger, a guy that it felt like he put this VP team over the edge in terms of their major winning form last year.
Yeah, in case anybody missed Game 2 of TNC versus PSG LGD, that is a must-watch game, I think, especially if you're a fan of Tim's, or if you want to become a fan of Tim's. Just watch the highlights of that game. You'll be a fan for life.
The great thing with Tim's, that he's a guy that maybe isn't that well known by Western fans, is he's been doing this for a while. Like, you go back many TIs ago, he was doing it, had some amazing Earth Spirit moments, and he does this in these big matches on LAN. TNC as a team have never, always actually performed better on LAN as well. Unfortunately, last season they would just lose all their online qualifiers to Team Faceless, but it's great to see them come to these big events because they really step up their game. Big playmakers like Tim's on Enigma, Earth Spirit, all his signature heroes, ET, Earthshaker. He's an amazing player to watch.
And I don't want to flame because obviously both are great players, but when you talk about SCA 4s, it's generally DJ that gets all the hype. Numbers-wise, Tim's has had the better season.
It is time. Draft has begun. Does it also mean that we want to see Tim's and Roger be on the same type of heroes? Are they going to compete a little bit there in that position 4 hero pool?
Nice.
Nice.
Omni-Knight got
Get
banned.
it out. Get me
out. Lacoste,
I mean,
happy.
that's a first pick material, right? I'm not even kidding. This hero is so good right now.
I think both 4s, I mean, they are very instrumental to how their team plays the game. They have slightly different hero pools. I would say the Enigma being something that we don't really see Roger pull out all that often. And we'll see what comes out. I think Shadow Shaman's maybe another consideration, but other than the Shaman, it's normally those ganking 4s, the Earth Spirits, some of those Nyx Assassins we saw.
Spirit Breakers.
Already a big decision for TNC here.
Yeah.
VP having first pick. Do you leave the IO in the pool?
This could even just be a series where IO is ignored.
Yeah, do
Oh, I
both
don't
of them
know,
play
man.
IO? Because is it not one of those position 4s that we don't really like on the most active?
Yeah,
4
it feels
players?
like when you have a great position 4 player, you don't want to waste him on IO.
Yeah.
But again, I think that depends a lot on your 5 because picking IO, you shift a lot of that playmaking burden onto your 5 position player. But I like this point that Gods made earlier about the addition to AU to this TNC roster that's gone largely unnoticed. he's the kind of 5-position player that I'm a lot more comfortable, along with Solo, of course, the veteran, asking to do a little bit more in order to enable my carry with the Wisp pick.
Oh, well, that's probably the decision TNC have to make, because ban Aya or not, and it's game 1 of best of 3. It's one of those things where this will kind of set a lot of the scene for what's to happen in the later games. It could be, yeah, Aya's first pick worthy. It could be that he's untouched the entire series. Much like Chen is often untouched.
Yes. In terms of other heroes, by the way, other than Io still in the pool, Warlock comes to mind as well. And we've seen a lot of Mars first phase banned, but he's not really been picked at all. Like, if he is banned, he's banned first phase. If he's picked, like, I don't know. I have not seen him picked yet.
It seems the teams who have a Mars player know how to use the hero, and others, if you haven't showed Mars by at this point in the tournament, I don't think you ban it until you lose to it.
It's mostly banned out against VG Gaming or Alliance because they know how to play with them, and both of these teams rate Centaur really highly, and they don't want to play Centaur into Mars.
VP with the first phase Oracle ban, perhaps considering Darkseer as part of their first phase draft.
And there's a lot of heroes left in the pool. Like, we've seen Centaur banned almost all day long. Darkseer still there. Darkseer get banned, yeah. It's a very annoying hero to play against. It really limits what you can pick for your safe lane to play against those Darkseer +1s that just cut the weight behind your tower and put a lot of pressure on your safe lane carry.
There's still Grimstroke Doom combo. I love Doom as a response to a Centaur because he's your primarily target in a team fight, and with Grimstroke you have to. Like, you can't just Doom the other target because he's gonna use Stampede and they run away.
I think I'm off the Doom train, though. He is 1-7 in this tournament, and a lot of those games have just been ugly. And TNC with the Batrider already banned,
I mean,
I'm sorry, with the Oracle already banned, they're going to go Batrider.
That's the same concept. I mean, you just need a catch. You need to grab Centaur and kill him so he can't pop his ulti.
And this is the hero I really want to see Kuko on as well. It's one of his best heroes. He can be a big playmaker. He can push out lanes. He can find kills. He can get very active on the map. It suits him very well.
So do VP dip back for the Warlock here?
So far hasn't been their preferred go-to 5.
Okay, Shadow Demon. Again, this has been the staple of their last few series of drafts. It puts so much pressure on these BKB-reliant cores like the Troll that's still in the pool for TNC.
It's their comfort pick, and it's also a great hero against the Batrider. You have a built-in save as well, so pretty good overall.
I still think VP will be considering the Nyx Assassin as you go into that second phase.
Yeah, you're playing against Batrider. Definitely.
I even like it against Grimstroke.
Good. Yep.
So TNC, they need to ban out good heroes against the Batrider. Maybe Lifestealer, Juggernaut. These are always heroes that come to my mind.
Imagine the TA still very much on the table for TNC.
Ooh, yeah, TNC, maybe, yeah. I don't know if VP want to consider against the Batrider, even if it's not going to lane against you. It's just annoying, problematic hero either way. And TNC ban out Slark, just something we've seen numerous times on Ramses, and that's another carry that matches up well against the Batrider, not just, Lifestealer, Jug, Slark.
Yeah,
Slark is good in the laning stage against the Batrider, but not at the first couple of levels. Like that hero is, like, if you misuse your Q, you can just straight up die.
It's not an easy lane by any means, but Slark also, once you get to mid game, very good against the Batrider.
You just help the Slark like level 1 and level 2, and and then he just destroys.
Getting a lasso off on a Slark, you never want to lasso him unless you know 100% Dark Pact is on cooldown. It's just so hard to play into that hero.
Well, the other thing is that we've seen a lot of like these beefy tricores. We've seen a lot of like Centaur, Sven, Omni tricores where these heroes just, they stand in the front lines, yes, but they also are feeding Slark Essence Shift stacks.
I think there's a hero I really like Armel on. That's one of his best is Kunkka. It's always nice against Centaur. You can't just stampede away when there's an X initiation. So if you get gone on by an X boat into a Tarn, there's no escaping until afterwards with the Stampede.
Seems like TNC is trying to focus on some Ramses bans.
Yep.
Any that should still be banned? Morphling comes to mind, perhaps?
For sure. Troll is still Hero that VP like a lot.
Io and Gyro are still in the pool.
Still in the pool.
I will be so surprised if that duo goes completely by the wayside in this series. It is 7-3 thus far in the tournament.
Would you then ban the Io or would you ban the Gyro?
You ban the Io.
I think we'll see neither ban, just because it's just so team specific.
They ban the Juggernaut.
It's 7-3, but it's what, 3 different teams who have played Io Gyro? How many teams? Like the number of teams who are playing it is small. It's not like something that is in every team's kind of go-to.
Oh, that's not a hero that we've seen a lot of. And with the Batrider already on board, you imagine this is a little more likely to be a support position, Nature's Prophet. Although we have seen it run safe lane in the past.
Yeah, it's an interesting support duo. They have very little stuns and lockdown between Grimstroke and Nature's Prophet. Very much picked for the lanes.
It's not been very successful.
That's true.
And they're a bit squishy on TNC right now. Like all these 3 heroes are kind of paperish.
I still think Io Gyro is just sick here because you got a 5 and a 3 that have plenty of disable. But Nyx Assassin still is amazing for Roger.
Yeah.
Sometimes Roger is the one playing the Shadow Demon.
True. And they've even run it. Hey, they've even run it Pasha in the past, although with the Centaur on board, not here.
Yeah, and it seems like the only time that VP did that was when they also got their hands on the Omni Knight and put the Omni Knight on position 5.
One of the heroes that is forgotten and still good in the laning stage against Batrider, a Phantom Lancer, because they banned out Slark and Jog. It's still an open option. We'll see how this draft develops, but you can always sneak him in as a 10th pick if they don't have too much AoE. Yeah, you can see Ramses. He's saying like, yeah, this is a good Phantom Lancer game.
Oh, lip reading. Good man, Lacoste, next level.
Not just lip reading, but understanding Russian is what I'm more impressed by.
Я буду играл Lancera. That's what he said.
And now as TNC, you really have to think twice about any kind of BKB reliant core because you now have 2 supports that both crush BKBs.
Yeah.
You need something like a Storm here. Mobility.
Storm definitely. I mean, Storm could be good for either team right now. The other hero VP played last series, which looks solid, is the Death Prophet. I think Death Prophet's just a good all-around hero right now. Gives you an objective taker, and is something.
I would love to see some kind of a save.
VP.
I would love to see some OD maybe on side of TNC.
Boy. I think that's asking for trouble. So the other. So we talked about the Sven stat split in this patch. Troll's the opposite. Troll is 10 and 25 in games that end before the 40-minute mark, 14 and 9 in games that go past that mark. I think the Troll pick here really goes away from a lot of the TNC strengths.
They have a lot of ways to deal with Troll, especially during his ulti with Shadow Demon, 2 spells, Spirit Breaker, or just a Stampede to run away. I feel like right now VP's lineup more saving potential, way too beefy for what TNC has right now.
The one thing the Troll does bring to the table, he's one of the best carries in the laning stage. Like he's very powerful with his spells there. And looking at these supports and other heroes, like TNC have the makings of a lineup that can win a lot of lanes right now.
Oh, I don't know. I think Shadow Demon, Spirit Breaker give you a lot of flexibility in terms of your lane configuration. You can tri-lane that if you want to. And then the Lushrak is a perfectly good 1v1er in either the mid or the safe lane. Obviously, we expect him to be mid in the hands of no one this game.
I feel like with just these 4, I'm not afraid to say no matter VP picks last, I'll still favor their draft.
I think I was going to say largely the same. I think that through 4 picks, this is a fairly massive outdraft by VP. I'm reluctant only because I feel like TNC might have some cheese in their back pocket here. I don't believe they're a Meepo team.
Cheese.
They pulled out Bristle.
But yeah, there's
their damage is pretty limited. Bristleback works fine against Slash because he usually builds into both Crimson or just Vanguard and Pipe. And their damage is limited. The one thing they have is a soul catcher against Bristleback, so maybe they should ban it out. They could still put Troll Warlord on mid. And this could imply that it's a BB because OD ban.
Yeah. Still, I just don't know that.
The cheese might just be like a Kunkka pick because that's the TNC. I mean, it's not cheese, but I think that's more likely. TNC's not really been a team ever that just looks towards these, more gimmicky gotcha picks to end their draft.
Yeah, I think the Kunkka is just more likely because you're kind of with the Kunkka pick, you're kind of saying, look, we know that the troll is countered late game, but we're comfortable enough fighting with our other 4 heroes in that mid game time frame, and the troll's just a damage dealer.
And it's normally still Gabi that plays Troll, and then Armel is a phenomenal Kunkka. So
where's the lockdown? If Virtus.pro picks something like a Morph here for Ramses, like where's the lockdown?
It's
or Weaver? There's no
there's no lockdown whatsoever.
Yet. No lockdown yet. Still 1 pick to go. Is there 1 pick that is like the end-all be-all?
Kunkka just looks like beat this dead horse, but it gives you lockdown, initiation, and catch. You've got okay already with the Batrider. It's not enough on its own.
It's a really long
DK
cooldown.
maybe. Yeah. DK could be an option as well.
I'll still throw Storm in there, but yeah, I like the Kunkka. Okay,
Ooh,
DK, good
nice.
call. You and Lacoste with your DK calls, man. You guys have been money.
When you get 10th pick DK and there's no damage, it can be like, well, it kind of is a cheesy pick in certain games. This game, they have enough damage. There's Soul Catcher, there's Leshrac. It's still a good DK pick, but it's not one of those, oh god, they just picked DK. How are we going to ever kill him?
Yeah, they were limited on single targeted spells during Grimstroke ulti, and now going to have 2 more besides the lasso. So a bit, I love the Dragonite as a 10th pick, but overall I feel like Virtus.pro, the aggression that they can put on, especially with the core Lashrack, these towers, and Spirit Breaker, they can be all over the map.
All factors considered, you'd go for VP?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Nahaz?
I favored TNC before the series, but I like this VP draft a lot more. 70-30 VP.
Copycat.
70-30?
30.
That is, whew.
Bunch of doubters. Game after game, TNC proves everyone wrong except Vici Gaming. We're going to ignore that one. Doesn't count. TNC, 90-10.
Yeah, baby.
90-10?
Just threw out that.
All right.
I mean, I hope you guys are not betting.
I can backtrack. There's still a 10%. I can backtrack after I'm wrong.
You can backtrack all you want. We are about ready to head to that first game of the series, but I will first say thank you to Twitch for being our broadcast partner, and I will also say thank you to Toby and LizZard for bringing us some commentary.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Casas area. I'm TobyWan. I'm here with the amazing LizZard. First time ever in the history of Dota. You know, it's because we understood like there's a lot of like Balkan pride coming out from this tournament. Yeah, Lacoste, and there's Lacoste, and there's Lacoste. According to Reddit, there's Lacoste. So now we have you as well.
We can't have a Croat stream like casting without a Bosnian joining in as well. Like that's it. That's basically it.
Yeah, but I'm very happy to have you up here and your professional opinions. What you think in the DK as well?
Yeah, DK looks really strong. It's a solid way to finish out their lineup, and I like it. At the same time, I think what's really interesting is this Weaver pick. 0% win rate out of 3 games. I instantly called it. I disliked it. I understand why they did go for that Weaver. It's one of the heroes that always worked really well versus the Batrider.
Yeah, and I am with no lockdowns or no like hard lockdowns just yet. Maybe Ramses is able just to be that unstoppable force on the Weaver, and that does put then the Leshrac, so no one gets to play the Leshrac in the mid.
Definitely. Weaver is a hard hero to kill, especially when you have no lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And they do not have a lot until this DK or the Batrider get a mobility item, like a Blink Dagger or something similar. So it should be a very easy game in which you can let this Weaver solo lane on this bot lane after giving him a little bit of advantage, and then create a lot of space over the map with that Leshrac.
So we're talking like Virtus.pro is going to find this space, they're going to find these items and the timings, but like TNC, we've already seen that earlier today. Gauze dismissed it and said it was just those things. Like TNC, they play fast, even if the draft doesn't feel fantastic for them. Is VP going to be ready for that? Weaver sometimes can feel very lackluster. Yes, you can dodge, but can you find the farm? Leshrac, needs items to survive in these engagements, and Centaur needs to be more than just a stampede. Can TNC play a faster rate than Virtus.pro?
Well, you just said it. TNC loves to play fast, but you know, Virtus.pro, they're one of those teams that started doing that. CIS was known as the scene in which you play fast. It's all about these early aggression and early game kills, and I believe Virtus.pro can match that. I'm yet to see a Weaver win, though, so...
Oh, okay, sure. It's like, so they can play fast, but the odds are against them. Mr. 70-30 on the panel.
We have some very awful statistics for for TNC, actually, from Nahaz. At the same time, Ramses is on this bottom lane and he's facing the tri lane. He's not facing that Batrider, which is a really good play by TNC to set up their lanes this way and to dodge out that Weaver.
And Solar, okay, I kind of want to watch him because I'm wondering like how he'd try and move around inside the lanes. Obviously, he's got his charge available. Weaver's already moving, so yeah, lane rotation out, switch it up so Solar can get some solo experience on bottom. This can't be the full plan. Like, is this really worth it? The amount of time you're going to trade this out, considering the maneuverability you can get.
At least you have these two heroes. One has charge, the other has Sukuchi, so you can rotate fast. And Solo did really well on this Baraturn. Few days ago, he had like a BKB and Vessel very early on teams.
Actually going after him. With the charge forward, it's going to push him in range, so you can actually get the, if Pasha wants, so if somebody doesn't, he went for the Retaliate to begin with.
They can't get this. They needed a few body blocks in order to get...
now they want to try and turn around on him. Slow him up, do some extra damage. So Pasha wants to join this lane, sure. He's got 2 stout shields and 6 tangos. So he'll be able to survive, but more space is being created.
Yeah, this is a very problematic situation for Pasha right now, because you just arrived to this lane, but the equilibrium of the lane is completely controlled by TNC, as you can see right now. And on the mid lane, it's pretty even. You can't really zone out this DK, can you?
Oh, what are you going to do against him?
Yeah, he's just way too tanky.
You're going to harass him and get everything back, and then he'll just breathe fire to get his farm out in the lane. So, yeah, he's good. Charge coming at Cuckoo up towards the north. Roger's on his way up as well, so Shadow Demon, well, he's going to go with the poison. Starts with the disruption. Here comes your charge forward. The timing. Oh, it was just a little too early on the disruption, but it may not matter anyway. Cuckoo's got so much sticky napalm on him. Oh, so much poison on him, sorry.
So much poison, exactly.
That he'll actually end up going down. One last hit from Solo will do it. As first blood to Virtus.pro, not the perfect timing you're looking to see from them, but it works.
Yeah, the execution wasn't perfect. It worked in the end, and that's all right. Bara is charging away now towards this mid lane, where Armel, he is still very tanky, though. I don't think that they have enough power, but we'll see.
If you can get the initial bash in, bottom lane underneath the trees, Pasha really trapped in here. Tim's, Gabby, and hey, you! Down in the trees.
Yeah, that's problematic. As I said before, the equilibrium of this lane has been shifted completely, and Centaur cannot play that game in which he's pulling towards the tower and messing with the creeps. Also, he's on his safe lane, so he doesn't have that advantage of creep skipping too, which is not the place where you want to be, and that's why he's level 1 at the moment.
And this is where you're going to be happy just to leave Gabby down here. Like, man, this guy's got 15 last hits and 10 denies to his name. Money will start rolling him. And top lane, Roger. Oh, the bashes. Cuckoo just getting pushed away from Roger to get that kill. And then another one from Solo. Cuckoo couldn't get himself back over the tree line. He'll try and cut through. He's got stick charges to give him some extra life, but 3 stacks, and Solo just continues going underneath the tower. The Flame Brain will bounce around, so Solo will start to tick. And under the tower, Cuckoo might get a revenge.
Solo?
And Tims will arrive, looking for the experience and to ensure the kill. Solo will fall.
Yeah, that's the power of the Nature's Prophet. You don't have to use that port to get to the lane. Gets there, not really in time to save the Batrider, but at least he gets that counter kill on the solo Baraturn. It's still a position 5 Bara. Is it worth it? Not completely, but it's something for TNC at least.
They're charging again up towards top.
Speaking of aggression, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, like this lane, Virtus.pro, they're definitely bringing it. It's not TNC that are the ones always attacking. It's Virtus.pro.
Is Roger willing to spam out everything? And like, you do need to see that Nature's Prophet put down the wards. If they can see where this SB is coming, maybe TNC can start to react. But what's happening? Tim's with 3 wards in his inventory, is farming under Observer, moves so far away, the Cuckoo just, plays in relative safety while no one getting ganked up. You as well as Armel. teaming up to catch out the Latrak in mid.
This is much easier to do for TNC than it is for Virtus.pro to gank that mid lane.
Here we go again. Another charge. It just won't end for Kuku. He wants it with the flame break. At least he gets some chip damage back into Roger. More poison being thrown out, and Roger will be the one to get the pop.
Yeah, he has died 3 times right now. He did feed quite a lot, but at the same time, Pasha is level 3 on that bottom lane, so he's not really, like, these two offlaners are suffering quite a lot. Teams does get that bounty, and so far Teams is having a really good game at least.
And you talk about suffering, like, the net worth of the Centaur is actually beyond trash. SD has more net worth than the Centaur at the moment, and they're still in the bottom 3. Charge solo into Armel under the tower. Support is coming in from the Grimstroke.
It's
so
just
VP
not
wisely
happening.
back up.
It's just not happening. Remember, during the draft, they were talking about Linas and squishy heroes on mid. DK is not squishy. That Baraturn just cannot gank him. I think one of the best ways for them to do that is wait for the Soul Catcher from Shadow Demon and then go for him. Also, ulti from Shadow Demon is pretty decent versus the DK and the Troll. Another charge. And Solo passes by 9 Pasha.
It's kind of hilarious though. It's like she a shot straight through Armel. Solo is still headed towards the top.
Poor Batrider. I believe this one is for him.
Well, it is. Kuku is trying to run away, but disruption once again. More poison stacks. Support's going to arrive in the form of Tims, as well as AU. Maybe they got some slow, but Kuku continuously bashed up. Ramses and Solid maybe I keep going onto these two supports. Will anyone else come in to help out TNC? AU wants to find the kill on the support, but the silence up SD just moves away. Roger gets rid of the bug and now moves in to turn around into this poor Grimstroke.
This is not a lane anymore for TNC.
No.
I believe you just have to bail this lane right now. With that catapult, they will pressure that tower. And you can see Kuku smoking up, going around, trying to farm their little triangle over here.
But no one's there as well.
No one scouts him, and this is Kuku. He has to be careful
Solo.
again.
Kuku's going to get down the hill. Solo will join him as well. Kuku can play around the Roshan.
Yeah, he's actually stuck right now, so
Oh, wow.
there's that little cliff there.
Wait,
You
what?
can't, yeah, you can't, like,
Hang
it's
on.
the worst place to be in. You have to wait for the charge, though,
One
so he's
second.
fine.
He'll charge himself over towards mid, and Kuku knows it too. Giving him a little bit of the tip.
At the same time, I believe we might see a tier 1 falling 2 on this bottom lane.
Yep.
Tims and Gabby make a quick work out of it because you see this, it's very symmetrical the way these two teams are playing. The offlaners are completely sacked, they're suffering. Pasha, just as much as that Batrider. Batrider right now a little bit worse, but they're both feeling like position 5s at the moment.
And you can see where he had to go. Like Pasha crossed the river to get the farm. He actually double stacked so he could get the farm up.
Yeah, the one advantage that I do see for Virtus.pro over here is that they just need that Stampede at level 6. That will help them at least a little bit. While Batrider, he needs a few items first.
Gabby could see this coming in. Observer wards are pretty deeply placed by TNC. So as these tier 1 towers start to fall down, like the 3 observer wards they have planted will watch that SB charge. It doesn't help mid. It doesn't help top to be saved. He says it's going to be free. Ramses now takes the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, pretty much in this situation right now, if you are Virtus.pro, you want to be playing around their jungle, Dire jungle, while TNC wants to play in the Radiant jungle. These two teams are playing very, very similar strategies at the moment. The midders should start rotating too as well, but they do want those tier 1s on mid first. Lashrak wants to take down the tier 1, and so does Armel.
Dragonform from Armel will help him with that. But he's not even going for like earlier arms, like it's the double bracer, then he's going into that Hand of Midas.
It makes him so tanky, those 2 bracers.
So he can just hold through, but it does mean his rotations only come through like a run at you kind of style. There's no early blink daggers, there's no jump initiations. And that's where TNC, like, it feels like they don't have that same power as Virtus.pro. You talk about them playing the faster timing Virtus.pro, like in previous metas, but the SB charge does enable that to happen.
Yeah, Virtus.pro, their heroes are just enabled with levels, right? You don't need a whole lot on them. On the side of TNC, you do need quite a few items on these heroes to start rotating and start working.
Good scan. They know that Armel is totally alone at this tier 1 tower. And with level 6 on Roger, the Purge is out, and DK, so difficult to kill. Kuku's just looking at this, and he knows, like, he's been on the receiving end of this Virtus.pro Smackdown train.
Kuku does not want to go anywhere near them right now. He needs some farm, and that DK, sadly, because his outer lane has been lost so hard, is the next one to fall. Soul Catcher also working in. Like, there aren't many heroes that can take him down, but oh,
Tims. Can't escape. This is actually one of the worst games for Nature's Prophet.
Yes.
You get bug on you, you get charge on you, and like life is over.
You just cannot hide from these two. Weaver is so good versus the Prophet, and you can always get charged across the map, so you can't really split push.
They're going again. AU gonna look for a bit of an AoE stun, only able to connect over on
Armel is
Solomon.
here, though.
Armel came in towards the shrine, and with the stuns, Roger's in a little bit of trouble, trying to walk it off, but Sticky Napalm's gonna connect, as well as the Flame Break. The burn damage would have got him, even if the Breathe Fire didn't.
Solo gets out, they do lose their position for Roger. But when they're playing like that, like this, Solo and Roger, they can trade buying wards a little bit. They don't really, like, Shadow Demon can buy a few so that the Baraturm is even stronger in the mid game. They do that sometimes so that the Spirit Breaker can get that early Vessel or even the BKB if they deem that's necessary.
And TNC is still making a lot of this map. Like the gold advantage is practically nothing. The two big cores from TNC through Troll and DK still rising with time. Troll Warlord, he did TP in towards the mid to be involved, but everything is going into finishing up this Diffusal Blade. Hand of Minus is done. Gabby actually has the casual Mithril Hammer, so looks like he's going to finish up the Maelstrom first. AU's in some trouble. He won't get the stun off, and Ramses knows just how much he can get away with.
Ramses is so fat right now. That Maelstrom, Blightstone, 2 Raid Bands, he owns this jungle, and you can't stop him. It's so good that they gave him that advantage in the laning stage and that they did manage to get the lane versus the Batrider to just allow him to do this. Like, how many heroes can just wrap around the tier 1 on a DK? Position 1 heroes too.
Stampede, they're trying to push forward. Armel, Primary Tiger being charged in. It's a good Breathe Fire as well as the Soulbind. They can get the AoE done. Roger's having a hard time getting away from Gabby with the charge forward. Solo can't do much more. He got stunned up, and maybe now Virtus.pro too deep underneath the tower. It is still at least a 2-for-2 trade-off. Ramses just chipping away from the back lines. That sentry came down way too late to see him Chikuchi away.
2-for-2 trade-off in which Dragon Knight did fall. On the other side, you lose the Leshrac, but Dragon Knight falls first. And the Batrider, I think it's still a little bit better for Virtus.pro because they are playing on the enemy side of the map too. And Pasha is getting some something out of it. He's getting some farm on this bottom lane, some levels. And you brought, like, you just had 3 heroes there, so it's pretty good.
And Ramses is just like, you said it before, like, it's just free for him right now. You can't contest the jungle, so you've only got the south side.
Yeah, this is a perfect game for him. Like, a few days ago, we saw Nyx win versus the Lone Druid because it was a perfect game for Nyx. Nyx is in a really bad spot at the moment. I believe Weaver is in a similar state, but this is a really good game for him. So we'll see if Ramses is going to be able to use all the advantage and the resources that have been just injected into him in the early stage.
And then we see like what TNC wants to do in return. Like, you've got Troll Warlord with the Maelstrom, so he can just sit back and can continuously farm, but the rest of his heroes are not having the same type of fun. This Nature's Prophet doesn't have as much of a global presence. Solo, they should charge forward, going in, Cuckoo, Flame Break, trying to push someone closer, so potentially he's able to get a lasso with the double damage on Ramses. They just back behind that tower. Say hi to Armel instead.
You can see that TNC right now, they're just securing the perimeter, just farming on their own side of the map. They don't want to fight, actually. They understand that this Batrider, he needs an item. He needs at least these travels that he's going for. And their power spike is going to be with that Blink Dagger on the Dragon Knight, because that will allow them to actually take care of this Weaver or anyone else that they jump on. It's going to give them that initiation that they desperately need at the moment. Right now, they're just letting Virtus.pro do whatever they want. They completely handed them the ball, and they're just waiting to see if they make any misplays.
Yeah, so far VP are not. Pipe is done over on the Centaur, they're all grouped up together. And if TNC want to fight, they'll have to go against the entire lineup of Virtus.pro. And if you want a split push, well, you're just going to get charged down and hunted down, so...
At least what they're doing really well is planting these wards. You can see that one next to Solo.
Hi, Solo.
They're just setting up this very defensive perimeter that you cannot breach with Virtus.pro. So in that aspect, they're buying themselves enough time to reach these critical items that they need to fight with. So far, they just lost 2 tier 1s. It's not completely bad for them at all.
Just need to steady the ship a little bit.
Yeah, Roger just farming a bit, no one doing the same.
Ramsey's just watching the bottom lane too. Like, they're not allowing TNC to get any of their jungles to themselves. This economic, like, it feels like they're just being starved of the resources. It's about 2,000 net worth and about 2,000 in the experience as well. So it's not Yeah, it's not irreparable.
Like this situation right here is pretty awful for TNC because they've rotated 2 cores. They're 1 and the 2 to defend the tier 1 on the bottom lane, which means that the only place they can retreat to is this little triangle. But that means that both of these cores are farming there. Meanwhile, Roger is farming over here, Lash somewhere else. Like the whole team of Virtus.pro is just spread out and using the map a little bit better.
TNC is smoking, but Virtus.pro is grouping up to do exactly the same thing under their own shrine. Courier is coming out, so maybe this is a little too early. The 15-minute bounty runes is the target, and TNC trying to battle around the top.
Yeah, again, a very symmetrical movement from both of these teams. One trying to go for this tier 1 on the top lane, the other the bottom one. I believe TNC's smoke is a little bit more valuable for them because they don't truly want to fight Virtus.pro at the moment. Not just yet, at least.
See how quick they can be. Both sides fortifying up. But no matter what happens, it's still a tower trade-off. But TNC do push real quick. With DK and Troll, they burn through the waves, as well as the towers.
DK, Troll, and the Furion helping out, definitely pretty good for them. Meanwhile, Weaver is finishing that Linken's pretty soon.
Spirit Breaker is well behind the line. Sol put an Observer Ward down between the tier 2, tier 3.
Yeah, you can see how aggressive these wards are. The one behind the tier 1 before they took the tier 1, now behind the tier 2.
Bulldozers up, they're charging towards Gabby. Support from TNC. It is coming way too late. Oh, mainly because he's going to be dead. Roger actually creating some copies. Mel's had time to move over with the Breathe Fire, completely whiffing. Doesn't anybody. Gabby will fall, and now they just run forward. The quick Soulbind and double silence, but without the Troll Warlord, the damage feels very meh.
Yeah, these two tanky, manly boys do not care if they're soul-binded. They like it, actually. They retreat together and they go hit the tower. It's
I like
fine.
your soul, man. You can bind to me any day.
There you go.
So you'll Scepter fill a Shrek, so now no one's got his own initiation methods as well. And what are you really getting in return? TNC still not strong enough to fight. They had a tier 1 tower trade-off, but you've lost your mid. So even the tower trade goes the opposite direction.
And you lost your Troll there, which is pretty damn bad for you. Now, also, I have to talk about timings. This Weaver, we talked about the Blink Dagger on the Bat or the Dragonite. That's all fine and dandy, but this Weaver is reaching that Linken's, and then you need an extra item to take care of him. And you don't really have a lot of ways of dealing with his Linken's, do you? What do you actually even have? You have the Lasso and the Dragonite stun.
Yeah, but you don't want to be popping your lasso over on that. And he's got double braces. You need Yules. You need even Blink to catch out Rames out of position. Force Staff, that'll work.
This Batrider right now is not 1 item behind, but 2. You need the Blink and the Force to catch this Weaver. I understand the travels on him completely, but...
Yeah, he turned this into a bit of a split, but he's got both in the quick buy. He's got both Blink Dagger as well as the BTs in the quick buy.
I think he needs to go for the Blink first. Like this BT... we'll see.
No.
It helps him. It helps
There's
him
your
move
first
the map.
Blink Dagger. And he did still buy the BTs anyway, so Blink Dagger's on DK.
All right,
they have their initiation. The BTs are coming towards bottom lane. Armel wants to be the initiation over on Pasha, and then work with Batrider, who'll come through the trees. He sees nothing, and now Dragon Form, Blink forward, gets a Dragon Tail stun. Cuckoo starting with Sticky Napalm and the Flame Break. They need to actually turn on the Firefly for this and drag Pasha back through. While in mid lane, you'll have your probably counter initiation. TP out won't happen. But it's a Grimstroke for a Centaur, and they're worth a hell of a lot different. 468 to the 215. The VP are moving towards Roshan now.
Definitely a better kill for TNC, but they did use the Dragon Form and they used the Lasso, and that's why you see Virtus.pro instantly converging into that pit. I believe Centaur might have used the Pipe and the Stampede there if he knew where the Batrider was before the Lasso connected, but, you know.
It looks like TNC have no desire to fight this, but they're also not pressuring bottom tier 2 tower. Normally, when Roshan goes down from the Radiant side, you get that trade-off with the tier 2 tower on bottom, but right now, TNC, like, they don't feel like they can pressure it. Batrider is arriving. Firefly is going to be there. They have no vision to see this. The Observer from Radiant is too far away, so Cuckoo waiting for the time. ST sees him, however. Charge comes forward, and maybe they have it. Roshan gets it, but Ramses, he's already got the Aegis Immortal. Cuckoo will fall. Tims try to go into this pit, but both will end up dying.
That charge was so perfect because not only did it push the Batrider away, but Tims, this little sneaky player, he tried to go and just teleport under Roshan, but he got connected with the charge instantly and just got bashed.
Very, very cheeky from TNC. And it doesn't pay off, like losing to almost no damage or negligible damage. I get words out sometimes, not all the time.
I wonder
to the tier 2.
What do you think if that Aegis on Weaver is even necessary. Does he die at this point? Like, can you actually kill that Weaver?
So this is definitely so Ramses can just go so far deep in. Like that's all he's looking for. He's going to try and soak up everything the TNC's got. If they fail any time lapses, he's just going to go in again. Die, and he'll do it all over again.
There's a Russian word, solyara. It's everywhere here in the stadium. People are holding those panels with it.
Yeah.
Basically what it means when you combine it with Ramses is it means 1v5. And I believe that's what he wants to be doing right now with this Weaver, just diving, going ham onto the high ground with his Weaver.
And he's going in.
Doing
1v3, almost under a sentry ward. What are you going to do? Blink stun me? That's not going to work. Yeah. I'm really with you on that. Like, it's funny, like, the BTs helped get the kill over on the Centaur, so you can understand the concept behind it. Both found their items. TNC will find a new one. It's a BKB over on the Troll Warlord.
Which is pretty huge as well.
Yep.
It's going to allow him to not get shut down once he uses that ulti. Like, last fight, he uses ulti, Shadow Demon disrupts him. But there's still Shadow Demon's ulti to work with, so it's...
And he's not even meant to be the counter to the Weaver. He's meant to be the counter to the Leshrac at the moment.
Yeah. It addresses one of their problems, but still not all of them. They still have multiple problems that they need to deal with.
There's holes in the ship. Amel jumping in, but hey, what are you going to do? You're going to initiate? You've still got Stampede available from Virtus.pro in case things go problematic, but Solar's got Bulldoze. You can just walk away.
Yeah, and that Dragon form is running out slowly, but surely. Weaver again, just going into all of them.
God, Parch got every aura in the book. Mate, he's so tankable. Charges coming over towards Gabby. Cuckoo into the Firefly. Ramses won't dive under the tier 2 tower. They just want to take it first. This will be the last real...
Yeah, look at that Centaur, just stand, as you said. He's so tanky. He has that Crimson Guard and Pipe to work with. Can't really take him down. You can't really take down Ramses. TNC, they have to just purely outplay them in this next team fight.
And it's going to be in base.
Perhaps go on no one first somehow, but...
Look at Ramses, he just comes in. Backdoor protection, don't care. Creep wave's on the way anyway. And they just started up. AU's going to try and slow them. Fortification comes just a little bit too late to keep the creep wave alive, but maybe Centaur. Remember, he's got Crimson Guard as well as actually having the pipe, so he'll tank through everything. You can chain them up together, and Gabby, he just wants time to hit, and he's getting that time as well. They're actually beating through Pasha. I thought he was immortal, and he'll go down to Gabby, who can turn his attention over towards Solo, who will charge through. 3 heroes from TNC being hit, and you manage to get through one. Buybacks available, maybe expended, because VP are diving into your base. You need to be able to survive this. The Breathe Fire connects over on 4. Now the buyback comes in from Gabby. They will find the tier 4 towers. Sprout couching at no one. He'll use the Split Earth to try and break it free with the Flame Break. A bit of a slow. Nope, not going to happen. Ramsey just gets bumped. In fact, Ramsey gives the Lincoln Sphere to no one. Protecting him, and with the lightning turnaround, TNC, they thought they had the advantage. Now they're in trouble. Gabby, why is he always so low? He at least gets at the back lines, gets one of these kills, but Gabby, he's now the new primary target. Cuckoo with the Firefly is actually causing some significant damage to Virtus.pro.
Then
maybe Gabby can try and work with it. There's one with the whirling axes. Ramses, he's so low, but does he really still care? He's Ramses. He'll move through Gabby with Shikuchi, and they find the kill right from him. AU's TP'd in, but TNC is all falling over. Ramses on almost no life. He actually wanted to die.
That's the 1v5 I was telling you about. That's what everyone here is waiting for. And man, Virtus.pro, they play that fight so well. It's difficult to push this high ground versus these heroes. The Breath of Fire, there's Grimstroke with his Stroke of Fate maxed out, not Thinkspell, just out pushing and hitting you with these constant spells. They're just pesky to deal with. You're losing HP, but you bait them out. They baited them so far out that VP, they had the high ground, and then they turn, then they strike again. They make natural dieback.
Cuckoo, you want to TP in, you can die. Mel comes in with a Breathe Fire, but then his lead disrupted up, allows Ramses to finish the job over on Cuckoo. Now turning his attention over towards who? Tim's is probably the easier kill, and Solo helps set him up. They are soul-bound together. But remember, Aegis, 1 second, it will time out. Ramses, he starts to regenerate. They can't even stop it. They can't even attack him. Now finally, you get some kind of hit, but buybacks come thick and fast from TNC, but they are fountain diving Virtus.pro. They do not give 2 hoots. TNC, you can die at home. Tim's, he's almost dead. They're trying to reach him.
Yeah, they can just fall back right now and go for the tier Gs because, man, talking about aggression, this is what aggressive playstyle looks like. TNC, They're just caught breathless. How do you deal with this right now? Dragon Knight also buying back, coming back in. He has that dragon form. Perhaps you can sprout the Raxes, I suppose. They don't have Aegis anymore, so they gained a lot out of these few fights. So they will fall back. They will use that gold. Perhaps take down the shrines. This is the proper way to do it. They're very disciplined as well.
Man, I give you props for trying to find something good from TNC. Most analysts will just be at this point go, you know what, Virtus.pro, they've totally got this. There is nothing that TNC can do. And you keep begging questions.
You can sprout the Raxes.
You can sprout.
You can do something. I don't know. Maybe they disconnect. Something can happen.
We just move on. Hey, it's a full best of 3. Like, hey, there's always a second chance. You push through. This is, of course, lower bracket, so there's no second chance if you lose the series, but man, Virtus.pro, they definitely have this game halfway in the bag.
Definitely.
But they're going to shove it the whole way down if they want to take game 1.
This is the problem that TNC is facing. They're not reaching their items on time. The timing is completely off.
Here we go, TNC. They're going to bait around the runes. They break the Lincoln Sphere. Lasso as well. Ramses, he's so huge to kill him off. They have to bring him down right now. Ramses with the BKB, and Gabby's like, he is target number 1, but Ramses' timelines is out. And goes again, the split earth from no one. It hit Armel and Gabby. The cores can't do jack. They're on the run up, but the charge is coming back in from Spirit Breaker. You've already got one. I think this is the game. DK's down for 75, Pro for 70, and they are just walking over him. GG is called. Virtus.pro take game 1. TNC threw one last roll of the dice. They went for Ramses and thought maybe if we can kill the raid boss, we can actually revive World of Warcraft, but it doesn't happen.
Even if you kill him right there, he has his buyback ready and waiting. He would time-lapse right back into that fight. It was very difficult for them to fight this Virtus.pro that was so ahead at this point. They just did not manage to reach their timings.
This is exactly what this crowd turned up to see. Virtus.pro winning. Gambit, I always hope these guys are doing really well in the tournament, but now VP are the ones holding the torch, trying to get through into that lower bracket final. But man, TNC, they are still a fantastic team. Do not count them out. These guys can fight back. They just need a good draft. They need to be as aggressive. But man, we asked at the very start of this game, can VP be that aggressive factor? Can they actually step up to TNC's level? I think you know the answer.
They definitely proved that they can. This CIS squad, man, if you bring aggression to them, they will hit you even harder with the same amount.
Yeah, let me see more hard hitting. This game, this whole series is not done yet.
It definitely isn't, Toby. Thank you for that. And LizZard, of course, as well. Aggression, indeed. Virtus.pro can definitely bring that aggression. We saw that in the first game. Still here with Nahaz, Lacoste, and Gods. Gods, I'm sorry, you did give it the 10% for VP. They took it and they ran with it.
That's all they needed. Give VP 10%, and they'll turn that into 100%.
I think you just saw 1-0.
I cut off the last.
Yeah. Put the dash in. Perfect.
And I knew you had my back with us.
What a dominant game for VP.
Yeah, and it started as we're seeing in this top lane where the tri lane from VP was just in command from the start. It actually looked like TNC might be getting the advantage in the other 2 lanes as this DK of Armel got way out in front of no one, but of course the rotations eventually restore order.
Yeah, the key thing playing against DK is having magic damage cores, and that's exactly what LizZard is. So many of these great 10-pick DKs have come when it's against 2 physical damage cores, like a TA and a Troll or TA Sven or something, and that's where DK shines. But you've got damage to kill him when you have magic damage.
The Ramses, once he got that Maelstrom and just playing with the Shadow Demon and Spirit Breaker, the Soul Catcher, that spell is
I like that he went for it.
Good, yeah.
Before Lincolns.
No Lincolns, yep.
Like, he gets the Lincolns afterwards, because once you get that, you're playing against Bat DK and they can't stun you. But if you go Lincolns first, you play way too slow.
Yeah, you have no damage. And I mean, you're really squishy, but with 2 raid bands and the magic wand, like, you have some kind of a sustain. Also, this Shadow Demon hero. I mean, he maxed out the Soul Catcher. You can't really play it, and he lowers your HP almost to half if you're full.
That's just the first pick Shadow Demon has been VP's solution in the last couple of series, and it's just looked so good. You know, not only the anti-BKB, anti-carry potential that he has with his ulti and his banish, but also the Soul Catcher as an answer to some of these super beefy cores that we've seen throughout the event.
Yeah, and Pasha, he did not have a good laning stage. He was forced to go jungle level 3 and still decided to be a huge factor in VP's victory, getting a Hood, getting a Crimson Guard. no need for Blink on a Centaur early on. It's kind of a waste because you can get one tanky item for the cost. And with no real lockdown for Weaver, it was just an extremely good Weaver game to start with, and Rams is just delivered.
Yeah, the 10th pick Weaver was just kind of the GG factor.
Yeah, I read that wrong. I thought it was a Phantom Lancer, but he moved his lips a little bit to the left. It just looked like a Phantom Lancer to me. I mean, they banned out the counters, they banned out the Slark, and what else was it? A Juggernaut? Yeah, so you need to have some kind of a good laner against the Bat Rider.
Yeah, that's one of the classic laning counters to the Bat. I mean, I still don't know whether Weaver is any good as a hero in general this patch, but he was just so good in this game.
Apparently it is. It's one of those heroes that I think we talked on the panel yesterday about how there are some heroes who are really not picked, but when there's a good chance of picking it, the hero can still look insanely good, and this is a perfect example.
Yeah, they're heroes that, used to be the meta carries, but then all it took was a small nerf to make them not meta carries. But those nerfs were so small, they're still just fine. When the game calls for it, absolutely.
Yeah, and this is where it also, we talked about the incredible hero pools that VP has in the open. And this is where it helps to have veteran players that have a history on heroes like Weaver. I mean, Ramses was one of the great Weaver players when Weaver was in the meta. So asking him to pick that hero back up again, no problem.
Once TNC is not able to set that high tempo that they want to have, is the game basically over for them?
No, I think that's a narrative that a lot of people still try to sell with TNC that I don't agree with. They have become a much more disciplined mid and even late game team. They've shown that they're able to adapt when the opponent's able to seize control of the tempo, but I just think that the actual hero matchups here, even if this game goes later, Troll, there's so much anti-BKB on the other side. There's so much mobility with no stuns on the side of VP. I just don't think TNC's hero choices had the answer.
Yeah, and also one of these highlights, we could see Rams is using Lincoln Sphere on no one to save him on the mid lane just so they can't initiate while he still had the Aegis on him. It's all about those little plays, and it felt like last 5 to 7 minutes, VP was just throwing with TNC.
VP in their happy place, the crowd in their happy place. Definitely gave the crowd what they were cheering for all along.
And when you end a game like this, killing the enemy in their fountain, the crowd definitely enjoys that. I don't know if TNC did, but
it looks like Ramses enjoyed that too. Big smile on his face.
14-0-14 in on 28 of the 29 team VP kills. If that guy ain't MVP of this game, I don't know what to say.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, I must say.
It's a series MVP though, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's a series MVP, and to be fair, the Russian stream so far, they've been pretty harsh for our CIS squads that we have. So
they just always vote for Solo because it's a meme. So Solo is probably going to win the MVP. Sorry, guys.
Oh man, come on, give me those claps, boys.
It's up to you guys, the English stream viewers. Don't vote for Solo, whatever you do.
Yeah, you know that it doesn't work that way.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, do we like, because we had the Spear Breaker and the Shadow Demon, obviously we've seen Solo and Roger play both of them. Do we like it this way with the Spear Breaker 5 and the Shadow Demon 4, or do we want it the other way around, or doesn't it matter at all?
Yeah, I kind of prefer Shadow Demon to get some kind of item, so either maybe even 3 or 4 suits him better. When you're playing him as a 5, he really needs to be careful about positioning. When he gets items, whether that's Ether Lance or a Glimmer Cape, he can be more in front, and you get the more levels, you're more active, and you have a really good setup for any kind of a gank with Disruption.
And I think for me, it's more that Spirit Breaker doesn't do much with items.
Yeah.
Like Shadow Demon